Uh-oh. Why, YouTubes, are you giving me a notification right at the start of a video I've started? Anyway, welcome to whatever this is, chatting with Mr. Fee. And it's an exciting time to be chatting about exciting times to be alive. And we're speaking in regards to the AI craze and all things AI that are blowing up. And in particular, this video, I want to be talking about, I want to get the RAM. There's a giant RAM behind me. See? Can't see the RAM and Mr. Fee's in the way. But maybe I can use AI later to insert the RAM right behind me. Right there. A really exciting time, to the point where anything in your mind, anything you can think and imagine, any concept you can bring to life. And that's fantastic news for people who might be a little bit like myself, in the regard that my whole life I've always been like this ideas guy. Always had these cool ideas, and I mean like ideas for all kind of arty-farty things like music and songs and poetry, movies, comedy skits. But I never found the right people to collaborate with, and I never really mingled with enough musicians to, and I can't make the music myself. I'm not that great, and I'm a one-man team, so anything I put my mind to in the old days takes time, right? Which is fine. I still did a lot of stuff and had a lot of fun. But now it's like, with AI, it's like if you have an idea, you want to make a song, you can go to WTFUD0in or whatever else, and you can turn, like I'm turning 15, 19-year-old things I've written into songs I'm listening to now, and it's a jam. And they come out just the way that I intended them to when I wrote them, based on having a very tight kind of structure in the pacing. You got ideas for whether it's photography or film, and these concepts, you can pump it all out to the point where one person now can represent a whole entire team of people, and then some, as short as 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's an exciting time for people who have been sitting on their potential, but might not have had the means directly to express it. And there's a lot of people that like to take a big stinky poopy on AI and be like, oh, it's not real art. It's like somebody just types some stuff into a keyboard and it pumps out this awesome stuff in just a few seconds that will take an artist weeks or months to create. And it's like people make that comparison. I've heard people getting salty about AI not being real art. And you're right, the AI is creating it's generating it. So really, what you're getting is the end result of a process. But the process is typing, and therein lies any kind of resemblance of what one might call art, prompt engineering, as you call it. And this is the thing, when people make that equivalent and they say, look, it's, people paint and it takes them weeks and months. This person types something in and then it just pumps out something awesome. That's assuming that every single person that uses these AI text-to-video generators is literally just typing in a couple of words like, show me an attractive woman on a beach with sun rays, and that's it. That's like me making the comparison the other way around and speaking up artists and saying something like, oh, it's the same as somebody getting a brush and going up to a canvas and just going, ha, and calling it art. You know what I'm saying? It goes both ways. You've got people who can be lazy creators, right, or lazy contributors to the process that is art, because it's a multifaceted process. And when you start incorporating AI into the process, it gets very interesting in terms of what that actually is. It gets fascinating for various reasons, and some of it's quite in-depth and profound to me, and some of it's actually quite more meaningful. Some of it's actually more artistic and more beautiful when you start looking at art through the lens of AI, which might sound a little bit funny, and I'll explain that a little bit later on. But the main point is you have lazy contributors to the process. People that with a brush, it's like somebody who just types in a prompt like, I want an attractive person on a bike riding down Beverly Hills Boulevard, right? That's the same as saying, pretending all prompters are like that is the same as saying all artists literally just to create a picture of somebody, they just draw a circle with 2 lines for the eyes and a line for the mouth. You know what I mean? It's you can't simplify it. I mean, when I'm doing prompting, I get pretty in there and I like to experiment, and I spend hours like with myself working with ChatGPT, refining ideas. And to me, it's more conceptual. I like exploring the experimental, more surreal and abstract side of what AI has to offer, because, and this is the one thing that blows my mind, right? We're at this time where anything you can imagine, you can create, more or less, right? It's absolutely unreal, right? This technology that has been afforded us is unreal. And yet I see so many people trying to recreate the same old things, the same old tropes, trying to replicate the cinema standard of continuity and consistency. I see zombie films, I see noir films, I see Western little shorts of people showcasing their talents, and it's like, you know, being in the caveman era, Neanderthalic times, right? And we've got like aliens that have come down, and they've given us literally like super advanced civilization. They've come down, they've given us all the means, all the different materials and instructions to create a lightsaber, like an actual lightsaber. And what do we do with all those materials? We recreate the axe. We recreate the axe. It's kind of what I see. I'm like, why? Why, when we've got this ability? Like, people ask, should I go with Kling or should I go with Minimax? It's like, well, if you like Udio, go with Kling, because it's very concrete, it's proficient, it's clear, right? And it can let you do more consistency stuff, more concrete, realistic stuff. Like, if you want to replicate all those tropes, then go Kling. If you like Suno and you want to have fun and you want things that it doesn't matter what you put in there, it's always going to come out awesome, because with Kling it's hit and miss, then go Minimax. You know what I mean? Way more fun, way more versatile. You can experiment and go in any direction. And to me, if you're given this unreal technology, then why not venture outside that box? You know what I mean? Of what people used to create, and create something unreal. Something that is inside your imagination that you can only really show to people and allow them to connect with through this AI, pushing the boundaries, pushing the frontiers of what it has to offer, instead of just being like, okay, now I got to take a picture of the last frame of this video that I made, and I got to put that frame at the beginning of the next image to video, and then I got to link it. So you take so much time, so much effort to create these consistent scenes, when really, when you think about it, it's probably not going to be that long. I would say it's probably going to be the next 6 months, maybe less, maybe a bit more, where we'll literally have the ability to upload a photo of a character, upload a photo of an environment, and it will literally, then you just type in your prompt and it will create, okay, a video with audio included, okay, eventually, soon enough, of that character moving through that environment. And then if you want, you can change the character, stick with the environment, and it will map out and create a 3D space based on the picture, or you can change the environment and take out and switch around different characters. You know what I mean? We will have that level of versatility and control if we want to create consistency and continuity and replicate the old. If we want to take all the parts of a lightsaber and recreate the axe, we can do so very proficiently with minimum effort soon enough, if we're patient. In the meantime, why not enjoy AI where it's at now? Explore the niche of AI, even in all its jankiness and its unexpected results and lack of continuity. Instead of trying to force it to become something it's not quite, you know, at the level of yet, why not just think about where it is at the level, appreciate where it's at now, and think, okay, what if instead of trying to replicate it, since it doesn't want to keep giving me the same, what if I go in the opposite direction completely and try to create something completely novel every single time? Something that really pushes the imagination, completely new concepts, creating worlds synthesized of completely new materials, okay? Right in there, that the laws and the rules governing the scene are completely different, just to see what happens. And, you know, there's people like that, I'm sure, that experiment and get pretty abstract and surreal with it and conceptual. And I understand, okay? I kind of shit on how people are replicating cinema grade and rebuilding the acts, and I get it. A lot of these people are probably wanting, you know, they're either working towards establishing themselves in a realistic sense to make money for building a presence online or in the film community or whatever. And a lot of that perhaps is based more in concrete continuity, what people are used to. But at the same token, like, I think there's a lot of people out there who are also quite alternative, quite, you know, fringe, who appreciate concept pieces, okay, like contemporary dance that's gained more following than it ever had before, and over the last 5 or 10 years. I think people are entering a space now where we kind of go on a pendulum, and we're moving back into a space of fringe is cool. You know what I mean? And people want something different. I've seen people talking on YouTube and they're saying stuff like, oh, you know, you don't have to spend all this time editing when you're doing these influencer videos. You don't have to go traveling and doing aerial drone shots and all this flashy editing. Like, you know, I just have like a camera here and I keep it moving a little bit. I keep it organic so it feels like I'm with the people, because we all want to feel like we're with the person who's talking. And that's what people seem to want now. It seems to work better than all that over editing. And what that says to me is that in that pendulum swing, we're moving away from just focusing on style and surface and keeping everything flashy and pace, and we're swinging back into like being burnt out with that a bit and over it. And now we're swinging back into substance, wanting something with more depth, authenticity, something we can connect with. And to that degree, then why, moving back to text to video generation, why do we even now, like if we can just wait, and it will give us the opportunity to just put in a prompt and it will literally create scenes with the characters we want consistently, with audio included, right? Potentially. Eventually it will be like that. Why not just wait for that? And right now, just learn the language of the AI, test for its parameters, test for its boundaries by pushing the limits with the prompts that we're using. So instead of saying something like a man walking a dog by the beach, you know what I mean? Doing something like, I want to see a juxtaposition of cultures symbolized by two opposing extremes, the synthesis of which is reflected in a dynamic background that morphs or changes according to the central figure who is dancing a style that is dependent on each of those contrasting cultures. You know what I mean? And then put that in, and every single time from that prompt, you're going to get something different. And I've done stuff like that, and you get some pretty interesting stuff, and you learn about the limits and the biases and the language that these models use. I prefer Minimax. Minimax is a lot more, if you're into abstract and adherence to complex concepts and things that aren't as based in the concrete, but like new and novel hybridization or synthesis of substances or entities to create something new, and like, whoa, go Minimax all the way. Kling struggles. It struggles. My kind of style is typically, I don't like to do anything that's already been seen and done. Always want something new. And Kling, there's not many shots. I've made 30 videos, 40 videos of Kling. Not many that I like. They're all very much flops. Whereas with Minimax, like I said, it's like Suno. It comes out looking ripe and great every time, right? So, if I were you, even if you want to move into cinema, I would just experiment with the limits, try different prompts, understand the language of these AI generators, because they're just going to get better in time. Soon you can just type in something little and it will give you whole scenes with sound. You can upload your character and environment. It will be consistent and just change the prompt of what's happening in that environment, right? You'll be able to do that without having to do this image to image and taking the screenshot, the last frame, and all this tedious process. Right now, I would be investing and thinking, you know what, I'm just going to learn the AI, learn how it works, the principal function of it, its interpretation and its bias. And, I'm maybe while I'm experimenting and having fun and learning, I'm going to start working on some scripts, some character, background and lore, and get your scripts ready, get your ideas ready and lined up for when it does get to the point where you can just type stuff in and it will just create the scenes. You know what I mean? At that point, you've already got everything already written. You've been experimenting, focusing not through recreating the axe with parts to make a lightsaber, not just recreating old tropes, old scenes, replicating old cinematic standard continuity, but just pushing the limits and learning what the AI is capable of. Because it is going to get better as well, but if you stick, I think I'm going to be sticking with Minimax. I have a lot of confidence in it, and I have a feeling it's not going to stray too far away, I would hope, from that very versatile, imaginative, creative punchiness that it has. That it can produce very experimental and eclectic results. So in time, it's just going to get better. And I'm already, with my approach, hopefully, if this works out right, I'm going to already know how to speak to it. I'm already going to know more or less what it's capable of and what it's not, or at least have a better understanding. Okay? And I'm going to have my script ready, which I've just been working on. Like, I've had 5 accounts, and each time you sign up, you get 3 days worth of free, generations. And if I was you, I wouldn't sign up for the $95 deal with Minimax. What I would do is just sign up maximum 3 accounts at once, because that's the perfect amount that you can bounce between 3 different browsers on your phone or desktop and have 5 generations lined up and 2 consecutive generations happening in each window, right? 3 different Minimax accounts. And by the time you've finished 2 of them and you go to your 3rd window and, maybe you're going to ChatGPT in between, You know, by the time all the cups are full and you've got all the prompts filled up and you can't do anymore, you go back to that first window and it's already got quite a few empty cups again. You can put in some new prompts because most of them have already finished generating. It's really quick. I found anything more than 3 you'll struggle with, okay, unless you're literally just doing the same prompt over and over again and you don't have to keep putting in new stuff. And that was awesome. I got heaps done very quickly. And what I intend to do is just to sign up after each month, cancel, sign up on a new account, get 3 days full. Don't waste your night times. The first 3 nights that I did this with those 3 accounts, I got 8 hours sleep in 3 days. I learned a lot and created a lot. And then it occurred to me, like, there's bound to be something that automatically clicks this shit for me. So I don't have to stay up all night doing it myself. So I put in some prompts that were pretty versatile. Sometimes less is more, all right, because it's got less bias to anchor it down. So you can write down, like, for example, captivating time lapses, and it will give you a bunch of things like auroras, the beach, cities, engaging scenarios. You can just write that down and leave it running all night, download it auto clicker, and then have it click on the button. You got to remove the keyboard so that it's floating, because if you don't and it auto clicks the little button to open up for the prompt box lifts up and then the button moves up with it, and then it's no longer clicking the button. So you got to remove, I can do it on my phone, Oppo 58. You can remove the keyboard and put it to the top of the screen so it's not in the way, and then basically put the auto clicker there, and every 20 seconds it clicks. It clicks once to open it, 20 seconds later it clicks again to hit enter, and it enters the same prompt, like I said, like a template prompt that's open to interpretation, okay? And then I wake up in the morning and I've got hundreds and hundreds of 5 or 6 second long clips. You know, always put the term rapid, okay? If you want to fit a lot more in there, the AI tends to make the videos quite slow with the Minimax, with most of them. I don't do full stops between different, you know, developments or phases of a prompt. Like there might be a scene where it's got 3 different movements. I'll just use commas or say, whilst that's happening, this is happening, or blah, 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 as this is happening. I kind of link it so it flows, and I put rapidly before every action or development, so the AI knows just to fit it all in there in that short 6 second window. But it can make it slightly more janky. So if you want scenes where it's more detail oriented, especially with emotions, maybe use the word rapid once at the start, like a rapid paced cinematic sequence of, you know what I mean? And you can just write, I always put that in, like incorporating complementary visual storytelling and cinematography techniques, styles, and meta tags. If you're doing it with ChatGPT, tell it to do the meta tags. And if not, even if it's just doing Minimax, just tell it that. Complementary visual storytelling techniques and styles and cinematography prompts and styles. Yo, I'm here, I'm doing a video, do you need me? I'm here. I'm here. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, okay, well, all right. So yeah, that's my advice, auto clicker, and you'll have a lot of stuff generating. And that's my overall advice, is like, have fun with it, explore, learn it. Learn how to speak to this thing. Treat this thing like it's, you're the director and this thing's your producer, right? And it's good, you know, the best movies are those where you have like people that do works with each other in any field, people that work with each other over time. They develop that rapport and that understanding, and that they kind of synchronize, and you know, and you can see that polish really shine in their productions and their creations the more synchronized they are. So right now I'm focusing on just synchronizing with Minimax, understanding it. I'll be posting more things properly put together and edited, showcasing some of the stuff and the prompts and techniques, and you know, different ways of looking at it. One really big technique. Oh, I can actually see things at the bottom of people talking now. Interesting. Hello, bye. Sorry, I did not even know there was people talking. I would have said hello. I haven't really done this whole live stream thing before on YouTube, so hello, and what up? Well, I'm here in Perth, WA, and it's pretty gorgeous here at the moment. One really useful thing that I'm doing at the moment, and I'm finding it's working really well. Instead of giving your prompt directly, and this will probably work for most of the generators, most people will think, okay, I've got to describe the scene. I've got to describe, you know, detail by detail, painting a picture of what I want the AI to generate for me. What I'm doing instead is saying, look, I want a scene from a movie that is about, and then I describe what the movie is about, right? So let's say that you're doing some psychological talking videos, and you're talking about narcissism, for example, and you want to showcase different narcissistic behaviors. You could write in the different narcissistic behaviors, and it'll probably work, right? But let's say you want it to be a movie like a thriller movie about a narcissist serial killer, right? Now, if you just say, like, you know, like cinematic shot of a narcissist serial killer, you're going to have a lot of different style shots coming out. It does, you know, it won't look like it's part of the same movie. But if you say, I want a scene, a cinematic scene from a movie called this, which is about, and then spend, the more you put in terms of detailing what your movie is about. So the movie is about a character who is narcissistic, who exhibits all the, you know, typical narcissistic tendencies and behaviors, who ends up going into the extremes, and the mental health deteriorates, and they end up going on a rampage and killing people or whatever, right? Put in lots of detail and describe the atmosphere, describe how you want it to be presented. And what it does, when you say, I want a scene from a movie, and then put the concept, instead of just saying, look, I just want the concept, what it does is, it's kind of like what ChatGPT 4.0.1 does. You know how it thinks first, like, and it reiterates silently, and then it gives you the response. It kind of does that. I think, you know, when you tell something, ChatGPT, look, here's the concept straight off the bat, right? And you don't say, I want a scene from a movie. You just give the concept. Then every time it's acting on that prompt, right? Let's say you got that auto clicker on all night. It's going to pump out a lot of scenes that are relevant to that prompt, but like I said, they're not going to look like they're part of the same movie. And this, you know, especially if you want to create something, let's say you're doing something like a claymation show, and you're describing a basic features of some claymation characters, and, you know, you have a basic idea of, like, a lot of it's going to be around a festival, a lot of it's going to be in the city. So in one night, you can leave your auto clicker on and say, I want claymation characters, describe what they're like and the overall feel and appearance of the style of the show. And then you say, you know, interacting in theme appropriate behaviors. I write that, and then I let the AI determine the theme. You know, if you write that and you auto click it, it's just going to generate a lot of different things. It would be hit and miss, but if you say you want a scene from a claymation movie about this, where the characters look like this, you will find it's a lot more consistent. And I think, like I said, it creates that reiterative phase that ChatGPT 4.0.1 has, where it thinks first. When you say, I want a scene from a movie, what that forces the AI to do is basically say, to take all that information that you've put after you say a scene from a movie about, or set in, or whatever. It takes all that information and then has to nutshell it into a concept. Okay, and that's its first phase. Like, you're creating like a tier of processes. The first tier of process is, okay, I got to conceptualize this. This information is part of a movie. I need to first conceptualize that and interpret that together, and then create a scene from that movie. You understand? And I find that when you know, the more details you put into explaining what the movie's about, when it conceptualizes it and then creates a scene from it, if you use that kind of prompt and you leave your auto clicker on all night, clicking, generating, every 20 seconds clicking, that means every 40 seconds it's clicking enter. Like I said, every 20 seconds it just opens the thing up. Another 20 seconds later, it hits it and locks in your prompt. Half the time it will reject because it's still generating, and then eventually, you know, the queue will open up for another one, and it'll click in within the next 20 seconds or so, right? And you'll find in the morning, if you do, I want a scene based on a movie, and you're pretty much prompting the AI video generator to conceptualize the film first and then to create a scene from it, that's going to be a lot more consistent, as opposed to just describing the movie and giving it the direct concept and that's it. Because then it's just going to take all these different pieces and put it together this way for this shot, and then put it together this way for this shot. But for some reason, when you say, I want you to conceptualize that as a movie and then create a scene from it, just try it out. And I find when I've done things like skateboarding, various tricks that are quite technical and typically don't come out too well. And for some reason, when I say it's a scene from a documentary or a movie about skateboarders who, and then I take it to the next level, which I'm not going to go into right now, I'll wait till I do the video on it. But I find that, you know, these more advanced versions of how skateboards are used, it comes out looking pretty good. Like 3 out of 4 videos, when what I've done so far, they're just realistic physics, and I mean complex tricks in a complex way, coupled with them doing something else at the same time as skateboarding. And yeah, it's like, whoa, why is that so much more accurate when I get it to conceptualize it first, because it's part of a movie, and then tell it to create a scene from it. And I think that's why, because it does prompt it to have that kind of, like I said, ChatGPT 401 reiteration process, you know, instead of just like making it piece everything together once and then presenting. So that's my finishing tip for the day, and that's my overall views. It's like, we are given the tools to create anything we can imagine, so why try to replicate cinema standard consistency unless you have a job in that, or you're working towards a job in that? But even then, soon enough, you're going to be able to prompt for consistency. You don't need to do this technical image to image, snapping the screenshot. You'd still be better off regardless, unless you're already in the job, like advertising, and you need to create consistency. Then I get it. That makes sense. That's the right context for that. Otherwise, if I was you, I'd consider maybe, you know, would I benefit more from just learning and exploring and really syncing up with my producer, with my AI producer as director, learning its language, learning the boundaries. You know, and one example, like, you know, if you want a monster, here's another really good tip. If you want like an original looking creature, right? Instead of just saying I want a scary creature made out of, and then telling you what you think is scary, like I want it to have tendrils and be dendritic and be slimy, and I want it to have teeth sticking out everywhere and spines for appendages and whatever the heck, right? Instead of that, try this. There is a hybrid organism whose respiratory system is made out of, and put, you know, just made of a substance, one substance. Its skeleton structure is made of another substance. Its circulatory system is made of another substance. Just say that, another substance. Okay, keep it open, right? Its nervous system is made of another substance. And you can write, sometimes if you want, like a hard substance, a brittle substance, a liquid substance, a glowing substance if you want. You know, if you're going to make it glowing, the nervous system is good for that. And basically what you get in the end is this like really elaborate hybrid creature where you can see all these different parts of it. And depending on the substances, it affects how these things are composed, how they come out. And basically, when you just write substance, you don't write down specifically what you want, right? Like I've done ones where I've written down specifically, or worked with ChatGPT to give me ideas, and I'm like, wow, some of them are just insane, right? The level of detail and originality and what seems original to me, right, in these organisms. Because you're not just describing from the outside what it looks like, you're actually going into it and just saying, these are all the different systems that make it. There's 5 systems that I use. And, you know, it's good to use, like, you know, black brittle bone, you know, wax, broken glass, like mix up the substances, you know, bark, peat, algae, moss, mud, you know what I mean, granite. So I mixed up different substances for each system of the body. Just say I want a hybrid whose this system is made of this system is made of this system is made of this, and then after that say this hybrid organism is doing this. You know what I mean? And that leads to some pretty interesting results. And like I said, you can be open to begin with and just see what it creates and just put substance in there, like placeholder terminology. And then when you find something that looks cool, you can kind of anticipate probably what you can put in the prompt specifically to recreate that. And yeah, I'm going to do more videos just talking about like using ChatGPT in conjunction with this and prompting, and how to evolve concepts to the next level, and how to create not more of the same, not more Western or sci-fi or noir or, you know, zombie tropes stuff, but more, you know, unreal stuff, you know, like not stuff based on, you know, it's like if you really want to make these kind of films, it's like, dude, at the end of the day, it's easy just to go and just, how many movies are there in zombies and Western films and all this? It's so overly done. Why recreate the axe when you got the tools to make a lightsaber? Go build a bloody lightsaber. Step into the future. You know, stop trying to force this tech to recreate the old ancient wheel, man. We can fly now. Sky's the limit, and your imagination's the limit. So I hope this video is a good prompt for you to consider dabbling a bit more and really focusing and maybe shifting gears in developing a relationship and understanding of the text-to-video generator that you're using, as opposed to now trying to do the slow, arduous process of image editing and image to video, of trying to make consistent stuff unless you need to right now. The technology is going to get to the point soon enough where you're going to realize, damn, it's just so much easier. I'm just going to wait for that. I'm going to wait for that point where it's so much easier and then start doing more continuous stuff. Right now, AI can be a bit janky. Right now, AI can be a bit unpredictable. And you know what? If that's the way it is, that's going to be my niche. That's where I'm going to ride it as high as it can, create as much as it can, but focusing on quality, getting my ideas and my ducks lined up so that when it's ready, I can already start putting its stuff out soon in terms of the janky verse, which you'll see soon enough. But in terms of the more serious stuff, and it's based on like the continuity, some of the janky stuff is serious, but in terms of that stuff, that will wait. And as soon as we're able to just type in and upload a picture of a character or environment and then type in the prompt, and it will consistently adhere to those characters and environments in alignment with our prompt, as soon as it's at that point, which won't be too long, I'm going to be ready just to go like bust that door and like, here's Johnny, like a motherfucker. I'm going to be ready for that. But right now, I'm not going to take the tools of a lightsaber and painstakingly trying to build an axe out of it. You know what I mean? It's like, fly, man. Sky's the limit. So cheers for watching. Appreciate your time. I hope you guys are enjoying the process foremost. It's an exciting time while we're allowed to use AI before they end up saying it's too reckless and dangerous and being used irresponsibly, at which point only certain companies can use it, or people who meet certain criteria or pay exorbitant fees to use it, which will end up happening, mark my words. But for now, we're part of the development phase. We're actually helping to optimize the development phase of AI until it gets to the point where it's like we're there. We've got the general AI that we want, the general AIs that we can use for different roles in the world that we need. Thanks guys for your contribution and helping us to learn and train our models whilst paying us to do so. Thanks for that too. Thanks for your donations. Now we're going to pump out some news reports pretty much saying, yeah, AI has been used to blah, 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 and then bam. You know, and like I said, if it seems too good to be true, it's because it is. I think we are on a timer, but we're still going to have a bit of time yet before they drop that hammer and make it a lot harder to access or a lot more expensive. You know what I mean? Where only those privileged enough can really afford to use it to their benefit. You know what I mean? We're going to have a lot more opportunity before then, I hope, to play and explore and create and share with the world. And to me, what matters most is, yeah, having fun while you're doing it, but doing what's interesting to you. You know, doing what's interesting to you, doing what's in your heart, not doing something unless it's part of your job, but not doing something to fit the mold of what you think others expect, and basing it on research of like what demographic, you know, what's the most universally appealing, this or that. I always say, if you do what's in your heart and you put your all into what's in your heart and something you love, then you're going to end up producing gold. You're going to be more dedicated to that than somebody who's forcing themselves to do all these different things they're not as passionate about. And when you produce gold, people, if you want to make a living, people will pay money for it. They'll pay money for gold. And you'll produce gold a lot sooner by doing you and doing what's interesting to you. And if what's interesting to you is more zombie stuff and Western stuff and noir stuff and all that kind of jazz, then great, do that. You know, no shade. Chucking no shade on it. But yeah, do what's in your heart and you will produce gold. And everybody loves gold. All right? Everybody loves things more when it shows that a person loves something. You know, even if it's a smaller niche community, they'll be more devoted and connected with that. And you'll have like a cult following because there's heart in it and there's love in it and people appreciate and connect with that. Cheers for watching, guys. And all the best here. Blessings. Hey.